Hi guys, this is Natalie from Be Kind to You. Today's session is all about 3 essential questions all students need to know when under pressure. This is especially relevant at this time of the year when we're looking for our Year 11 and especially Year 12 students are studying and heading into exams. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. I love this quote. So this is so relevant to especially this time of the year. You can't stop the pressure, you can't stop the stress, you can't stop the anxiety, all those feelings that are going on, but you can learn how to deal with them as they're going on. So let's get into it. The first question is, what is in my control? When a student is under pressure, the emotional part of the brain takes over and critical thinking becomes difficult to do. By asking the question, what is in my control, it starts to remove the emotion of the situation for the student. In reality, there are only a few things that we have in our control: our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. So what I mean by this is when the student is under the pressure, let's say they're in an exam and they're feeling the pressure of the exam, they, as opposed to panicking, they ask themselves, what is in my control? In a pressure situation, many students try to control what is external of themselves in order to feel better. So they try to control the exam, the room, the questions, other people, but we all know we can't control any of that stuff. So some examples might be a difficult exam question or how fast the time is going. You hear of students, they look at the clock and go, I don't have enough time, and they start to panic. And when you start to panic and feel stressed, the emotional part of the brain is taking over, and critical thinking, which is what we need, becomes very limited. If a student can ask this question and know the answers, automatically the pressure is reduced and critical thinking can now resume. So let's go through a couple of practical examples. A difficult exam question. Before the student asks that question, the student starts to panic as they read the question and believe it is too difficult for them to respond. And in their mind, they're going, oh my God, I can't do this. I don't know this, we were never taught this, and all the reasons why the question is way too difficult, and all the emotion is starting to take over. And you can almost hear the panic in their head. They take a breath and ask themselves the question, okay, what is in my control? Then they answer the question. I can't control the question, no matter how hard I try. And that may sound silly, but when I coach many students, that is something that they try to do. In panic mode, they go, well, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. We were never taught this. This is way too hard. And it's like they're trying to control the question. They can't do it. So when they say this to themselves, I control whether I think I can do this or whether I quit before I've even given it a go. It starts to change their mindset, change their thinking, so that they get a chance to make a decision whether they're going to continue on or whether they're going to quit. And I can tell you, this is when they continue on. They start to lose the pressure and they go, okay, I have no control over what's going on, but I can control this part. Another example, everyone knows but me. So this is where students start to think everybody else seems to be going well, coping, everything like that, and I'm just losing the plot. So before they ask this question, the student makes the assumption everyone is coping and in control of their emotions and thoughts, and this only makes them feel more self-doubt and even more stressed. I am such a loser. I'll never be good at anything. Don't know why I even tried. And you can hear all the negative thoughts racing through their minds. And this often happens when we are studying. So this happens in term 3 often, especially for year 11 and 12 students. Because term 3 starts to consolidate everything and they can see the end but not quite see the end. So this is where they start to compare themselves to other students, not only at the school but all the other students that they're online with and what other people are doing and saying and achieving, and everything starts to, that gets exaggerated in their minds. Once they ask this question, the student then says, what other people are doing, saying, and thinking is none of my business. I can't control them. I can only control what I do, what I say, and what I think. And it brings it back down to reality. I can spend all my time and energy on worrying about what other people are doing. Why can't I do that? Why is she doing that? Why is he doing that? We never did that at school. All right, God, it's none of my business. Because at the end of the day, they're all probably thinking the same thing, which is not about them. They're not thinking about anyone else but themselves. So let it go. So when they learn, they have no control over it. I only control what I do. It changes the situation. The second question that is vital for them to know is, why am I choosing to think stressful thoughts? Let's go through this. Thoughts are judgments or opinions on what is happening in life. Thoughts are not always right and they're not always wrong. They are just what you decide to make a situation mean. Everyone thinks differently because of pre-programmed information such as our past, our beliefs and values, experience, habits, all those sort of things. So because thoughts are different for everybody, they are not facts, but rather a choice on what we decide to make something mean. We can decide to change our thoughts. So what I mean by this is, if we are all sharing the exact same situation, all of us are going to think something different about it. Just think about the news when you watch the news. You may be very passionate about animals and something about animals comes on the news and you are ropeable and get angry. Yet your partner or your children or some looks at it and goes, oh yeah, it's sad, but it's not that bad, because they don't have the same beliefs or the passions or the past as you do. Now that doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong, and that certainly doesn't mean they're wrong or they're right and you're wrong. It is just thoughts are just different opinions or judgments. When a student can be taught that it is natural for stressful or emotion-inducing thoughts will occur when they are under pressure, they can talk themselves out of it. By asking the question above, why am I choosing to think stressful thoughts? They have given themselves the power or permission to choose something different. So before I go through this example, what I mean by that is, when we're in a stressful situation, we often need someone else to go, hey, Nat, calm down, relax, take a deep breath, think, and then go forward. But we obviously don't have that luxury in an exam, but we can do it ourselves. So when we ask that question, it's like giving ourselves permission to calm down and take things differently. So let's use an example. There is way too much work and I'll never remember it all. So let's think of when we're maybe studying for exams. Before we ask that question, the student focuses on all the things they have not done yet or the work that they are struggling with. I am exhausted. When you tell yourself you're too exhausted, you will always be exhausted. I'll never understand all this stuff. They have talked themselves into not achieving. But when you ask this question, why am I choosing to think this stuff? It is my choice what to think, so I will focus on all the good stuff that I have done. I am really good at math and feel confident I know how to answer most of the questions in the exam. I am putting in the hard work, so I will get my results. That is changing their thinking as opposed to sitting in all those stressful thoughts. They can do it themselves. And the third question is this self-doubt thinking? Self-doubt is mostly invisible to other people. We are so socially connected, we try to hide all of our inadequate things. And self-doubt comes especially in the next, right towards exams, especially the real high achievers. It often makes students unable to make a decision without its input. Self-doubt can paralyze a student in the moment, and this can be difficult to move from. And you do not want to struggle with this mid-exam. It basically takes over the part of the brain that makes the important decisions, which is essential for students in exams. Self-doubt automatically appears when students set goals. Now, this can appear at the start of the year, middle of the year, end of the year exams. It doesn't matter. Goals can be big, small, or indifferent. We set goals and they can be academic goals. I want a 92 ATAR. We can set studying goals. I want to study chapters 1 to 6 in maths by the end of today. We can set, healthy planning, eating planning goals. But what happens when we set goals? Self-doubt automatically comes in. And what I mean by that, have you ever set a goal? Let's say it was a healthy eating goal. I'm going to eat healthy for the week. And it gets to Monday, you wake up and you start off really well, but in the back of your mind, there's something going, you're never going to do the week. You're never going to achieve the week because you've not done it yet. So by Monday night, you go, you know what? Your brain's telling you, look, don't worry about it. You're doing all right. You're doing better than this person. Just have that glass of wine. Just have that ice cream. It doesn't matter. Don't stress. That's your self-doubt come in. And self-doubt is that loud and what we often think of as really truthful voice in our heads. But in reality, it is just the brain trying to protect us. Our brains just want to be correct, efficient, and fast. It is designed to protect us and stop us from getting hurt. When we are trying to grow and make changes, the brain turns the volume up on self-doubt so you will listen. So you think of a student trying to get a high ATAR. First, when we're trying to be correct, the brain has never done it before, so it doesn't know how to do it, get a high 8. It's never done it. So the brain panics and throws in self-doubt. Efficient, when you are working towards something you've not done, you're not as efficient. You're efficient at getting 70s, but you're not efficient at getting up in the high 90s. We don't know how to do it. And as for fast, the brain likes patterns. And when you are pushing yourself to go further, it's not fast and the brain just doesn't like it. So this is a summary of self-doubt and confidence thinking. When you think you can't do something, self-doubt is automatic. It's an automatic response. You set any form of goal, it automatically comes in. The brain just does it to keep you safe. Don't try too hard because you won't be able to do it anyway. Don't worry, don't stress. Basically, it's a lack of confidence in your ability. Now, your ability is not only your academics, but finding the answers to all the problems that are going on. But it's you're lacking in your ability to be able to do that. It is making the decision not to try. So when you believe self-doubt, you've just made the decision not to try. And it's always there when you set a goal. It appears at every obstacle. So especially when you're studying, self-doubt appears all the time. Confidence thinking. It is a deliberate thought. So it's got to come from your subconscious mind up to your conscious mind that you can do it. So it's slower. It's not automatic. It's when you say, I have my back. No matter what happens, I'm going to pick myself up. I have my back. It's when you trust in your abilities and your skills to find the answer. You may not know it today, but you are backing yourself that you will find the answer. That's confidence thinking. You think about confidence. Confidence is when we feel capable about something. So how do you get confidence that you're going to get a high ATAR score when you've never done it? It's backing your ability that you can and will find the answer. It's making the decision to try. And when you give yourself permission to try, you can believe you can, even if it takes time. You are trusting that you'll always find the solution. That's the difference. So let's use an example. I'm not really smart enough to get an ATAR in the high 80s. Before a student asks this question, the student keeps thinking about the end result, telling themselves all the reasons why they will not be able to achieve a high ATAR. Even though I study, I'll never really get the score that I want. I'm kind of dreaming here. I'm not confident like the other kids. And self-doubt thinking has a way of making you believe that it's true. The brain wants to be fast, efficient, and correct. When the student asks themselves this question, is this self-doubt thinking? Okay, so this is just my self-doubt coming in. I can believe it or not. My choice. I know I have done the work. I know I am capable. I know I will try. I know I will have my back no matter what happens. So actually, I know I'll be okay. So the 3 essential questions all students should know to handle any situation. What is in my control? Why am I choosing to think stressful thoughts? And is this self-doubt thinking? If you want to know more about this and help your students get through this essential stuff, contact me on, there's my number, there's my email address. Good luck with the rest of the year with the students and share this information.